Hey, everybody. This is April, and I've got Lindi with me today. Apparently, we're going to play some weird icebreaker, but then we're going to talk about middle school boys.
You're listening to the Latched Mama podcast. I'm your host, Melissa Wirt, business owner and tired mom of 5. Join us each week as we talk about pregnancy, nursing, parenting, and all things motherhood.
All right, listeners out there.
All right.
I'm going to hum, and then she is going to guess what I'm humming. Okay? You ready?
Yeah, so ready.
This is what our podcast people make us do, you guys.
Yeah.
Okay, ready?
Oh, gosh. I know you're doing such a good job, but I just don't.
That was Uptown Funk for all of you out there who already guessed that. YMCA.
Yes!
Yeah. Oh.
So proud of you.
Ooh, 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 ooh.
Who let the dogs out? Did I get it?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes. All right, one more. We'll talk about boys.
Is it high pitched like that?
Probably not.
Oh, okay. Do it again. Do it again. I have no idea.
Beat it.
Oh, I was a Michael Jackson fan.
All right, no, let's talk about boys. We can do some more later.
That's like dun 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 dun. I don't know. Isn't that the beginning?
That was
Somebody said, "Don't you come around here," like that. Okay, are we done?
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Woo.
I got questions and everything.
Boys.
Okay, so you have lots of children. We have discussed this before, but you have one teenager right now.
Yes. 13.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about him.
He's my oldest. 13 and a half. He's like a Mr. Perfectionist. He's pretty independent. I don't know. He's a really good brother too.
Aw.
But just trying to navigate life and 6 kids and.
So he's the oldest and he's 8th grade.
Yep.
Okay. And then mine is 7th grade and he is 13 and he's the youngest.
Okay.
But he's actually my more organized kid. So he's probably like gained independence a little bit faster than the girls did, just because he's kind of a little bit organized. And I call him like a master delegator. So he tells me all the things that I need to do for him.
Oh.
And then make sure that I am on top of that.
Okay.
So then he'll follow up later. Did you do this? Did you?
Oh, wow. It's like a blessing and a curse.
Oh, yeah, I know. Like, stop bossing me around, dude.
I love it. Yeah, Lennox is, I don't know. He'll drive me nuts because he's like, what time is it, Mom? And I'm like, it's 10:30. And he's like, no, it's not. It's 10:27. And I'm like, dude, you asked me what time it is. Like, and now you just had the time to go look at the clock, which you could have done yourself, and you corrected me. So, like, he'll correct everything. It's kind of annoying, but also, like, I appreciate your attention to detail, buddy. Like, yeah.
So with him, he's your oldest, so you get to do everything first with him.
Yeah.
How have you watched him like grow and change, and then how do you feel like that's challenging you as a mom too?
Oh gosh, that's a big question. It's like a day by day thing. And a situation by situation thing. And I've also realized as they're slowly getting older is I'm going to deal with things at that preteen, early teen stage, like kid by kid probably a little bit differently depending on personalities.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, they go from this 7, 8, 9 stage where he's still like this little kid and cuddly, and it's mommy and not as many moms, and then it starts, I don't know. It's just, I'm still kind of bewildered watching him grow up. And the personality not kind of like simmer, but kind of like settle into like those things that I could see in the 7, 8, 9, but it was still kind of kiddie and bouncy and whatnot. And now he's like a little bit more chill. And even last night he came to like just hop on our bed and he was just sitting there hanging out, which I still love how like they'll still come in and just like hang out. And he's like, why do you keep looking at me? And I'm like, dude, I feel like you're growing like every 30 seconds and I just need to keep looking and like looking for the change. He's like, Mom, it's weird. Like you need to stop.
Right?
And I'm like, I know, but dude, you rolled in here and you look like you're 18. Like, he's like, no, I don't. And I'm like, yeah, but compared to the pictures I have in my mind, you know, I have all these little ones, and then especially they pop up on like Time Hop, and it makes me remember. I'm like, you're so big. Like, you're so big. He's like, Mom, I'm not big. I'm like, yes.
Yes.
Anyways, we went back and forth, back and forth.
Yeah, because they're long, and then they've got these like long limbs and these feet that are like too big for their body, but yet they still have that same face, and like their eyes are still the same, and like the way that they. Not the way they talk to you, because that does kind of change, but just their mannerisms and the way that they kind of relate to you in a way is like still the same. So like, like they'll sprawl across the bed and they're like as big as you almost, but then they're still just the cutest. I can't stop. I want to touch him all the time. Like I want to like, still like rub his hair.
Yeah. And I know you said his face, but like it's starting to like change or like fill in certain places. And that's like literally what I'm looking at. I'm like trying to find these details of like, and he just had like a haircut, like we buzzed up the side and trimmed the top. So like, then he looked really like not put together, but like, I don't know. It wasn't all this like shaky thing, but it's.
So mine is not very cuddly, and he used to be. So what's been hard for me is letting that go because he's my baby. So I definitely hung on to him longer in terms of that kind of stuff, like putting him to bed at night and expecting that when he's on the couch, like I'm going to like snuggle right up next to him. So he has been trying to wean me off of that. It's awful.
Don't do it.
It's the saddest thing. So he hasn't said I love you in like years. He dropped that a long time ago. But I would still put him to bed at night. So when we were on vacation this summer, I was still putting him to bed and I accidentally like farted and he was done. He cut me off after that. He was done. And so, and I thought, oh, it's just a vacation thing. Like when we get back home, he'll, we'll get back into our routine. Nope. Totally cut me off cold turkey. So, and he was like serious about it. And cause I went in like that night to put him to bed.
Like you need to keep doing it.
Yeah.
Just like walk by and like,
I know. And so he was like, no, you're done. You're done putting me to bed. And so I'm bursting into tears. I'm standing in the hallway like, you didn't give me a warning. Like you cut me off.
Oh no.
So my 15-year-old's like hugging me in the hallway like, you're okay. You're okay. So those are the things that are hard for me is like when they change, but you don't get any warning or it's not a slow thing. So now my rule is he has to come find me and he has to give me a hug before he goes to bed. Yeah. Because I don't get to like tuck him in anymore.
So they all put themselves to bed?
Yeah. Oh, it's weird.
It's weird. Like I'm kind of looking forward to that because all of mine, he's like, Mom, are you coming upstairs? And I'm like, no, I don't really want to. And he's like, okay. I guess I'll just give you a hug here. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like throw the covers off and I'll come, I'm like,
I know.
You still want me to tuck you in and
enjoy it because he may cut you off. You just never know.
I know. It gets so big so fast. Well, my 11-year-old, he is taller than my 13-year-old. Probably starting earlier as far as puberty goes. which we can get into those funny stories, but he's huge. I remember one time he started his door in his bedroom, and they used to run and like jump on their bed, like cannonball into like under the covers. So off he goes, and he jumps in, and he breaks like 3 of the wooden slats like under his mattress.
Yeah.
And he's just sitting there in a ball, like, because it didn't go all the way through, but it broke down like one side. And he's like, and I'm like, dude, like you used to be able to do that like 4 years ago. Now you're like 120 pounds. Like, he's almost as tall as me. I think he's like 5'6", 5'7". I'm like, you can't do that anymore. Like, you're not little. And he's like, whoa. Like,
wow.
but just like how big and how fast they get, like just so quick.
Oh yeah.
So quick.
Oh yeah.
Anyways,
I used to be able to, we would arm wrestle each other.
Oh.
And he beat me. Last time we did it, he beat me. So yeah.
Sweet.
It's sad.
Oh.
Okay, let's
What
talk about
else?
the stinkiness. Let's talk
Oh,
about how
gosh.
their bodies are changing.
Oh, yeah. So did you talk to him? Did you guys have a big talk with him? All your kids?
Yes.
What do you do? Is it a certain age or whenever?
Just kind of seems like when it's right
Yeah.
for them, like how their bodies are changing and
Yeah.
what they're talking about maybe, and or if there's some sort of outside influence that maybe is the impetus for the conversation. So yeah, we'll have a couple. So definitely like how your body's changing, what to expect. We do like a sex talk, which is always, very comfortable. Everyone's always extremely relaxed at that one. That one's always, they've got great questions, no, they just stare at you like deer in headlights. And then when can this be over?
Are we done?
Yeah. Can I please never discuss this with you again? But I mean, for me, like being a doula and stuff and like a lactation counselor, there is nothing that is off the table. Is that the right phrase? Yeah. There's nothing off the table for me. So I'll just randomly bring stuff up too, like out of the blue.
Yeah.
Yeah. One time there was a tornado going on, and the kids were stuck at school.
Okay.
You might have been homeschooling at the time, but the kids were stuck at school. So except for my middle daughter, and we had to stay in the bathroom together for several hours.
Okay.
And it was right about that time. She was probably 7th grade. So I was like, oh, Madeline, this is an excellent time to have a sex conversation.
Stuck in the bathroom with mom. Oh my God.
So we had a sex conversation in the half bathroom during a tornado. It was great because otherwise she would have totally bolted on me. Yeah. So it was wonderful.
Did she sit there like quiet?
Oh, yeah. She never said a word. Wouldn't even look me in the eye.
So my husband read through a couple books with them, and some were like discussion and not just like physical stuff, but just like friends and choices and like all that stuff. They loved it. They had back and forth like discussions upstairs. Like, I don't know. I wasn't involved. But we've had some really funny like situations where they've been like yelled at the top of their lungs, like, I got a new penis hair or like whatever. And they're just so funny. But we try to talk about these things that it's just an everyday thing. Like I'm like, did you put your deodorant on today? Cause like you stink.
Yes.
And they both have it. And the shower thing, I feel like is always a battle with young boys. I have like at least every other day rule, but I'm trying to like talk it into like an everyday rule.
Yeah.
Especially, I mean, if you have sports, like no question, I'm like, you need to get in the shower like head to toe. But like, I don't know. I don't really know how well they wash anymore.
Mine, I mean,
they're
he
just
still will be
gross.
like, which ones that he'll use the shampoo for like everything, or he'll use the body wash for his hair too. I mean, can you read? Like, why? Boys are so simple, right?
Yeah.
Like they just grab some sort of soap and then just head to toe. But yeah, like we have a carpool going right now with cross country. So the boys at practice, there's 4 of them that get in the car with me after practice, and they've run like 2.5 miles. That is a special kind of smell. So,
do you have like all windows down?
Yeah, I mean, it's just
goodness.
like you've got the AC blowing maybe, but then also you need to have the windows rolled down. Woo! And they don't notice each other.
Did they not care?
One kid did say it smells like stinky feet in here. And I was like, yeah.
Way more than that, buddy.
I don't know if they smell each other. I don't know if they smell themselves, but we have definitely had that conversation lately. Like, how often are you putting deodorant on? Are you doing that every day? Because I think it's time. I think it's time to just really that be part of your routine.
Yeah, Lennox they have one in their bathroom, but he has one in his school backpack. Because the days where his like gym coincides with after school soccer, like I picked him up the other day and I'm like, you need to roll down your window. Like it smells so bad. Like, did you put your deodorant on today? He's like, no, I forgot. I'm like, you can't forget.
Yeah, we need to get into this
like you
routine.
can't forget. It has to happen. Yeah, absolutely.
And then I think I was telling you like kind of this mix between being a little kid and an older, young man. But like Kai had 6 teeth that needed to come out. He still had 6 baby teeth. And this has been going on over the last couple of months. Yeah. So he is just like yanking them out while he's like playing a video game or something. And then he'll just leave them on the coffee table. He'll hand them to me when I'm on the phone with the customer. So then I've got this like dead, bloody tooth in my hand. But he's had like 6. Yeah. So, I mean, it's just like every couple days, there'll be some random tooth laying around the house.
Oh my goodness.
And like, spoiler alert, like mute it if you're getting, if you've got little kids with you. But then I'll just be like, go get a couple bucks out of my wallet.
I love it. Yeah, Lennox, he's like, Mom, look at this. And he's got a tooth out. And it's like he's left it like all bleeding because like that's like the coolest part, And he's like, look. And I'm like, was it loose? And he's like, no, I just knew it was little. And I just started working on it this morning and I ripped it out tonight. And I'm like that's a little like, I don't know. I'm like a little worried about that. Like, please make sure it's a baby tooth. That's it's not a permanent
I know.
tooth.
I've been the same way. I'm like, please make sure those are baby
He's
teeth.
like, I just know. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Like we're going to get to the dentist and the dentist be like, nope, that was a permanent one. He ripped it out. But I think the roots are different anyways. But maybe it probably wouldn't have been able to come out that easy. But yeah.
Oh
my goodness.
You got any other like funny, gross kid stories?
Well, we had an issue with gnats, which is like really gross, and our house is not nasty, but there's 2 boys. They have the 3rd floor. They don't take out the trash very well, and we don't like them to take food up there, but inevitably it gets up there. And so we walk in and they're like, Alexa's like, Mom, there's like these gnats and they won't go away. And so I started walking around the room and they're like kind of chilling everywhere. On the poster, I move out. No, there's a clump of 6 right there. I literally started walking around the room. It was like a gnat nightmare. So then they're freaking out. We can't sleep in here. And I'm like, well, you need to take care of your room. You need to take the trash out. This is like full of yogurt and like all these other things. It was so gross. Well, where we're going to sleep. And I'm like, well, first of all, you need to clean it up. You need to set the gnat traps. They slept downstairs for 2 nights, but like, I don't even know how many gnats we caught in those traps, but it was hundreds. Yuck. Hundreds.
Oh,
but they led into cleaning and they're back in their room now. But it was like, I'm like, you got to take the trash out. Like you can't throw nasty stuff in the trash and leave it there. Like this is what happens.
Yeah.
It's really gross.
We try to do the same, like not have them take food upstairs, but they completely disregard that.
Yeah. And I guess I don't really mind the chips. Like you grab a snack, it's the wet stuff. Yeah. Like that, you can't throw like leftover pizza or an open yogurt container or fruit because they'll grab a banana. I'm like, you can't leave. I'm like, I'd rather you open the window right there and throw it the peel out the window. Don't put it in your trash can. Like, oh, it was so disgusting. It was a good lesson though, but I'm sure it'll happen again. But
Well, that's another thing about them getting older is now they don't ask like, can I have a snack? They just go do it. And so Kai's obsession right now is popsicles. I cannot tell you how many popsicle wrappers are laying around the house at all times.
Sticky though.
Yeah. Oh, it's disgusting.
Oh.
But I mean, and he'll be like, this is my like my 4th one today. But yeah, I'm like, dude, I've picked up 2 popsicle wrappers. One was out in the yard. One was here. Like, you've got to get a handle on this.
Yeah. And I try to tell him, I'm like, grab one of those. Grab something from the fridge. Grab something from the fruit. Like, don't go and grab like 5 fruit snack packs and 2 Cheetos. Like, it's not going to fill you up. It's wasting the snacks. Like, grab a variety of things. Like, I know you're hungry. I know you're growing, but
Why don't they just grab the carrots, like the
I
baby
know,
carrots?
why not?
Come on.
A bag of broccoli.
They're right there. Gosh, so easy. You just get the celery out. You get out a cutting board and a knife, clean it, you chop it. 5 minutes later, you've got a snack.
That's really gross. But wait, like speaking on stinky stuff, like coming through the laundry, I can smell it. But then I get to the socks, and the socks are inside out, which I can't stand. Reaching my hand
into
in
the
there.
dirty socks.
So I reached in the other day and I'm pulling out. It's caked. It's caked with mud because they're too lazy to put their slides to go in the garage or the driveway. But then the ball rolls down the hill, so they walk through the mud. Then they just take the socks off and throw it on the lawn. It's caked on. I'm like, it's caked on with mud. I'm like, I can't even wash these in the washing machine. So I made them take them out and hose them off. So he was like pressure washing like his socks with the hose. But it's like gross. I'm like, laundry duty's going to come. You're going to turn 14?
Yeah.
I'm like, it's going to become a chore. There's 6 of you. Pair it up into 3 groups.
Yeah.
Y'all are going to rotate.
There you go.
But then I'm a little worried about my machine. They're probably going to break it.
Yeah, probably.
But
I make mine when they're about that age, like when they start middle school. So when they're 6th grade, they do their own laundry. Yeah. Now, Madeline has not done her laundry in about 2 months. If you want to talk about disgusting, we actually should probably talk about my 15-year-old. But she has not done her laundry in months. I don't know what underwear she's wearing. I have no clue. Where
does she keep this massive pile?
On her bedroom floor. It is no less than like probably... you can't get to her bed. Like I can't get to her bed.
Goodness.
So probably 6 inches high of just her clothes everywhere all the time. I have no idea how she decides what dirty thing to put on. She's kind of gross. But yes, they all do. Kai has to do
They're going to make
his.
it, right? They're going to make it.
They will. They're going to be fine, right? Kai has to do his because of his sports. Like he only has so many baseball pants.
Okay. Yeah.
So many jerseys.
Right.
Like he has to do his laundry.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I make them do is like 6th grade. I teach them how to do their laundry and then they are 100% responsible. So they decide when they're going to do it. And then I don't have to be the one that, Friday night before a baseball game. Oh, I have my clean, did you wash my pants? No, I did not wash your pants.
And he gets it done?
Yeah.
I like it. All right. You've encouraged me to get the laundry train going.
Do it.
Gonna do it. Happy 14th birthday. You get to do laundry now.
Here's a container of Tide.
Yes. I'm going to do it. I'm going to buy him a container of laundry soap.
Okay, what do you feel like is maybe the most encouraging thing about this stage?
That's a hard question. I don't know. I need to
not quite encouraged yet. Not
I don't know. I'm still stuck. I still have a lot of little ones. So like, I flip back and forth between looking at what's popped up is like the high school specialty stuff. But then I've got like 2 kindergartners. So I'm still very much in like elementary land. But I don't know. He does encourage me on a daily basis and I see the growth and the decisions and how he opens up about certain things. And I just try to encourage that because I want that to stay open. And
I was afraid that Kai's always been a talker. So I was afraid that he would shut down on me like you kind of hear teenage boys do. And he hasn't done that yet. And I hope that just by keeping those lines of communication open and like, just again, like talking about anything, bringing up things that he might not even be comfortable talking about yet, but letting him know that I'm not afraid to talk about those things, hopefully over time. And also like getting to know his friends, that will still stay the case. Cause that's kind of like a concern that I've had is I just don't want him to like shut down and not talk about, stuff.
Yeah.
When you're so used to sharing, you know, all those little details.
Yeah, we have this little joke, which is, I guess it's not always funny, but he'll come home and I'm like, so did you see any drugs today? Or like, he's like, Mom, stop it. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm just asking. Like, I know it's there. like this weird mom, but like, I don't want any of those topics, whether it's this bad thing to be like, oh, that's kind of weird to talk about. Like, it's there. All this stuff is there in life. And like, how do we navigate it? And like, let's talk about it. And like, as hard as it is for me being an introvert, because I wouldn't even let my mom talk to me about it. Like and I'm like, just get me some books. Like I was that kind of introverted and did not want to discuss it. And so I didn't really make it very easy for her at all. But I want that to be open.
Yeah, I was joking the other day. So I guess with COVID, there's certain times at school they can and cannot go to the bathroom. It makes no sense to me. Like what
I don't
times?
think they hold it to them. I think it's just
like sort of the standard.
Well, my guess is I've seen from some teachers saying is we have it just to kind of track and see patterns.
Okay.
And of course, I mean, if girls need to go, they're not gonna.
Yeah. So I was teasing them the other day. I was like, so you can't go to the bathroom during passing periods. You can only go, what is it? It's basically like the middle of class time is the only time you can go or something. They don't want you to go the first 15 minutes or the last 15 minutes of class. Okay. So I was like, when do you go to the bathroom and vape?
What did he say?
They're just like,
he just shakes his head,
roll
right?
their eyes like, my mom. Like, what in the heck? My mom.
I know. They're so funny. But yeah, I don't know. I asked Lennox, I'm like, what do you use? Like, I don't know. I just always go at lunch. Like, do you go other times? Do you drink your water? Like, are you okay?
Yeah.
And he's just like, I'm fine. Like, I figure it out. I'm like, all right, figure it out.
Okay, so what about, let's talk about friends. So it seems like when they're littler, when they're smaller, you can influence who their friends are. You can set up those play dates, you know, that kind of thing. But as they get older, you're probably finding this, that either you don't know who all their friends are or those connections have changed. Like one thing that was surprising to me was, so we don't, like when I bring my kid to your house, like we don't, you don't always come out and talk to me.
Like the parents?
Yeah, like the parents, or like you're probably I wouldn't do that, but like the flip side, if those kids were coming to my house, sometimes those parents just drop them off and leave out of the driveway. And I'm just like, wow, okay, so you're entrusting me with your kid. It changes.
Yeah. No, I have the same thing, and we like to meet. I like to meet them, like to say hi, but we've had some sleepovers, and we're picky where our kids sleep over. I really need to like get to know the parents or whatnot, but you know, we'll welcome kids here, and the boys have had some sleepovers, and I've never met the parents or the kids here, and I'm like, hey buddy, like, do you have your bag? Do you want to take it upstairs? He's like, no, I don't have anything. And I'm like, okay. Like, well, we got extra stuff. We got a sleeping bag, pillow, and like they didn't bring anything. Right. He just has his phone.
Yeah.
But I don't hear from the parents, and I don't hear anything in the morning, and they just go home, and I'm like,
yeah, I guess it's because if they have a phone, they communicate directly with their parents. Yeah, but it's like, weird, isn't it?
I don't know. We have a couple places my kids will spend the night, and like I just in the morning I'm like, hey, thanks for having them. It doesn't always happen back, and that's okay. Like I know they have a safe place at our house, and everything is fine. But I just wonder, like, on the flip side, if my kid goes anywhere and there's not any attention like given.
Yeah.
Anyways, but yeah, back to the friends thing. It's interesting watching him navigate it, and I'm trying to learn as a mom where to step in, where to let him figure it out on his own, and you know, ending more on that side to let him figure it out. But I've been proud of him in a lot of things. There's some things that he'll put up with, and then other things that he won't put up with. And in those moments, I try to catch him and just say, hey, like, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you for deciding where your boundary is, what you're willing to tolerate and what you're not, because that's not an easy decision for an adult, let alone a middle school or elementary kid who is trying to feel accepted, trying to find who they are. And for the most part, you're going to put up with kind of whatever, probably for a little while.
Yeah.
But there's been some times where he's come inside and I can tell, like he comes in the room and just kind of hangs. And I know he kind of wants to talk about something, but not really. And I'm like, are you okay, buddy? Everything good? And he's like, yeah. He's like, I'm just tired. I'm tired of so-and-so cussing all the time. And I'm like, well, like, I'm proud of you for, deciding when it's enough. Like, that's a really, really big skill.
Right. To just be able to walk away and be like, okay, I was having fun outside playing or whatever, and now I'm not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I can see the difference. He is like that in a little bit more not difficult to make friends, but he's very picky. He's very like selective.
Mm-hmm.
So I asked him, I said, hey, like, did you make any more friends at school today? And usually it's just the one or two that he sits with. He's like, well, actually, he's like, yeah, I've got some friends in gym. And I'm like, that's awesome. He's like, yeah, because we have to split up into little pods. And so whenever we do the games, like we have these games. So he rattled off 3 new names. And I was like, cool, buddy. Like, I'm proud of you because he must have had to step out to do that.
Right.
But then the flip side with my 11-year-old, little bit socially awkward, navigating social situations, but like everybody's his friend. And so I think that's what I'm going to have to watch is just, it's harder for him to create boundaries because he is a little bit less insecure about himself versus Lennox.
Yeah.
And they're all different, even the girls.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. Ours, they had some, I guess what has been interesting is like maybe the elementary school friends then are not always sticking around as being the middle school friends. And then, same middle school friends aren't sticking around and maintaining like being the high school friends. So it is like, because I get kind of attached, I pour into these kids too. And so then I'm like, why are we not seeing so-and-so anymore? So that's kind of been hard. But yeah, I think they have to make those decisions. And it may be that so-and-so didn't, like it's a two-way street, really, friendships are a two-way street. So it's not always something dramatic that's happened, but it's just kind of like they've grown apart or they don't have the same interests or one chose to go to a different school than the other. And so even though they're like in the same neighborhood, they just are not like hanging out with the same people anymore. But yeah, that's been interesting just to kind of let them navigate all of that and just to be that resource for them to chat through. Hopefully we have some wisdom having been through all of this. Yeah. But that's just something that they have to go through. And it kind of, like it's one of those things where you put them out in the world and they're going to get their feelings hurt and things aren't going to go well always. Yeah. But that, it's just something you have to go through.
Yeah. But that whole idea of a friend, like I have like even my second grader and she's like, excuse me. She's like, where are my friends? And I'm like, what do you mean? She just thinks that like they're going to appear kind of. Excuse me. And I try to tell them and I try to think back to like when I was in elementary and I think they always enjoy. It's something I didn't hear a whole lot from my mom sometimes, but I try to say like, hey, like I remember when I was in 3rd grade, like, I didn't have these like really, really close friends. Like friendships take time. Mm-hmm. So I said, now's a great time to like practice being a friend, and talk to as many kids as you can and find out who they are. And like that's practice those skills, because if you can do that, eventually you're going to find those kids that you do connect with and you have the similar interests. And then you can work on being a friend with them and create a friendship. And that's where my 11-year-old can sometimes struggle in that sense. I'm like, it is a two-way street. You have to practice. You have to work at it. I said, but you may really only find those friends kind of come middle school that hang around for a while. But like elementary school, it's just, I think, just trying to learn how to be a good friend and be nice and be kind and say hi. Right. But like, I think it's kind of rare to find that best friend in 1st or 2nd grade that's going to stick with you all the way through high school. Yeah. Now it can happen. Absolutely. But there's so many different like avenues and different schools and different activities that you can make these friends, and it can definitely change.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
okay. Tell us, let's hear a little bit about like, especially with boys, like video games and, that kind of stuff. I fought video games for the longest time. Yeah. I think I was telling you, so Kai's trying to save money to buy a phone because we have said you can have a phone when you need a phone. And it's been our experience that really still in middle school, they don't need a phone. Because other parents have already gotten phones for those kids that they're hanging out with. So I can always get in touch with my son through that. Or like at the school, there's a phone that you can always call your parents on. So there's really not that many places that you should be where I can't access you, or you can't access me. So he's saving money to get a phone. Same with his Xbox. I fought it for so long, and my husband did too, that he saved money and bought his Xbox because we just really were like, no, you don't need it. No, I'd rather you were outside. Yeah. So that's actually his, but like we still have boundaries related to it. But that, video games drive me nuts.
Yeah. It's such a hard one. And like, I feel like every day I almost have a little bit different of a opinion on it. You know, one day I want to like literally trash it all, like take the baseball bat and just beat it to a pulp because, you know, if a weekend and they're on there for too long, it just adjusts that brain and changes the attitudes.
Don't you feel like when they're done with that, aren't they a little louder, a little more aggressive?
That or they come down like they've walked out of like a casino for like the entire night. It's like, welcome to the world. Like you're back.
Eyes.
Yes. Like you're back in civilization. They got to lounge on the couch for like 15 minutes to adjust to like, you know, the world around them.
Yes.
But sometimes I can feel myself get this frustration and I'm like, you need to get off. Like we're done. And I don't know. I think it's that line. I feel like kind of coming into this teenage years of how hard you set those boundaries versus how much they're just going to want to break them, or opening it up and having it be a little bit more of a free choice and helping them to kind of navigate that. I don't know. I get stuck on like a day to day where I'm like, do we not have a rule? And try to help them learn these things. But they're also 13. Like they don't understand, I think, some ways navigating what could be like an addiction to these screens. So I don't know. It
certainly doesn't feel like that to them. It feels like fun. And that's where my friends are. Yeah. That's how I'm talking to my friends.
And that's what's hard with the 13-year-old. Like I can lump in the 11, but 13, like most of his friends do have phones. So he'll tell me, because we do have a no screen rule during the week. Now, sometimes they get a little bit on Wednesdays, which is kind of the middle of the week. Either the girls do like a movie night and they play a little bit. And I'm not there on Wednesday nights either. So it's like dad and, you know, they figure it out. But the other days, he's like, Mom, can I get on the laptop and like say hi to my friends? Because it's the only way he can do it is through Discord because he doesn't have a phone. And so there are those days where I'm like, I feel bad. And I'm like, sure, like you can hop on for 30 minutes, but like then go find them in the neighborhood or something like that. But yeah, the screens are hard to navigate. But I try to also think back, like I was there once. I remember like binge watching like 3 hours of like Hey Dude one day. Like, I mean, like we all had like our things that we would kind of after school, you just wanted to like decompress, and we did. But we didn't have like those kinds of screens. And even sometimes my husband and I would be like, you guys can pick a movie, but like that movie is way different than like some of the games. Cause I've sat there and watched, I don't know, Gabe play some plant flower devouring game. I couldn't even watch it for more than like 3 minutes. Like the colors, the movement, like I thought I was on like some sort of drug, which I have never been before, but I could imagine like this is some sort of experience right now. So I'm like, do a movie instead of a game. But yeah, it's difficult to navigate. And then there's Xbox tech problems, which we're having with one of them.
Oh, that's when I lose my mind.
And I'm like, I am done. I cannot do it. We've reset this thing. I don't know how many times. He's like, but my brother's works just fine and he doesn't have any problems. And I'm like, oh my gosh.
That's how we were with headphones. We would get these headphones and then they wouldn't work or they'd keep cutting in and out. Yep. And I just had no patience for that. To me, again, I was just like, I don't really want this Xbox to begin with, much less now these $60 or $80 headphones. that aren't working. And then we'd like pull the neighbor over and he couldn't figure it out. And I have no patience
Well,
for
I'm
that.
to the point where I tell him, I'm like, y'all know more about this stuff than I do. Like, I can't help you. If you guys can't figure out how to reset it or whatnot, like, I'm not going to be able to do it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I know. You like, and you are I just have such a love-hate with it, but mostly hate.
Yeah.
But then I think, like I was telling you, like my kids, he's a very organized kid. So like he'll come home. He knows when he is going to squeeze that in. So he gets an hour a day if he can. So like some days if he has cross country and then he has like a 45-minute window before he has to go to baseball. And in that, like maybe I'm running somebody else to somewhere or whatever. He has to get his own like dinner. And then he's got to make sure he's got his gear ready and his homework done. Yeah. And that boy will come in, he'll get all that done, and he'll like squeeze in 15 minutes of Xbox. Yeah. And I'm like, well, I can't really fault you for that because you just like
time management.
Got it all done, right? Yep. Like you just got in there and set to task. But yeah, it's kind of neat to see like those areas of independence too, where I don't have to have set aside like a little meal for you. There's certain things that you can make. Yeah. You know how, you know that needs to get done before you leave at 4:45 or whatever. Yeah. So that's been kind of neat to see as well. Like that.
I think that's great.
That relation or that responsibility.
Yeah. And that's where I think too, is some of those things, those fun things, they come with responsibility. So if you can get homework done and you can track your time and do that, it's fine. But we've had several days where they get lost in screen world. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, if you can't, I'm not going to like nanny you. Okay, your time. Okay, you can get on now. And then I will be back when you need to get, like, I don't
5
have
more minutes.
the time to do that. So if I yell up to you and say, hey, you've got 10 minutes, I expect you to get off in 10 minutes. And if you can't get off in 10 minutes, then we probably have a problem. Yeah. That we just can't navigate this. We're not ready for that. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. We have good days and bad days with it.
Yeah. Yeah. But all right. What else? You got anything else you want to chat through? It's been fun. I love watching each stage. I love seeing just the way that they change and develop and how their personalities grow with each of those stages. Even the funny stuff like the stinkiness and the no snuggling, which is not very funny, but
you need to get one of those big snuggle shirts. The shirts for 2.
Yeah, like, right.
Look what I got us.
Right.
We can snuggle now in the same shirt. Anyway,
I love it. And then his little smile, just like when I tease him like that, and the way that little smile, and it's oh my gosh,
great,
so cute. We love our boys.
Yeah, they are mommy's boys. All right.
Well, thanks for chatting with me today.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, do we want to close it out with a couple more songs?
All right.
Okay, I got one. Hang on. All right, you ready?
Yeah.
I feel like I'm going to need to dance to this one, too. Gosh, I don't... Oh, gosh. Okay, I'm going to skip that one. I don't know. Okay.
That was so great, April. I have no idea.
Baby, one more time.
Oh my goodness.
No.
Baby got back.
Oh. Wait, what?
I like big.
Oh, okay.